Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. In the name of Allah, the entire merciful, especially merciful. My dear brothers and sisters, in this lecture we stopped on important time, on important subject. And Sheikh says, وَيَجُوزُ تَرْكُ الْإِسْتِقْبَالُ فِي حَالَتَيْن. i.e., it is allowed for us to not look toward the Qibla in two occasions. في شدة الخوف, you have fear, very strong fear. Whether you are in the war or whether you scared that if you pray, then the journey will left you out. If, for example, you going by cars, the road you don't know, the other peoples they know the road. If you left them, you will get lost. In those occasions, you are allowed to not look toward the Qibla and pray. Or at least you start the Salat while you're looking toward the Qibla and you get on the car and you go. And you're not facing toward the Qibla. In that occasion, you're allowed to not face toward the Qibla. The second occasion that you are allowed to not face toward the Qibla, وَالنَّافِلَةُ فِي السَّفَرِ عَلَى الرَّاحِلَةِ, i.e., when you are a traveler and you want to pray Sunnah, you are allowed to not face toward the Qibla. You are allowed to not face toward the Qibla. For example, one is traveling from UK to Mecca by a car. All this journey, he doesn't want to just sit. He wants to worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He prays. You're allowed to pray and you're allowed to not face toward the Qibla. While you're sitting on the chair, you say Allahu Akbar and you pray. For the ruku' and sujood, you just little bit go down and go down more for the sujood. For the bowing down, i.e. the ruku' and sujood, prostration, and when you go down, and you're allowed to do it that way while you are a traveler. I.e. in those two occasions, you're allowed to not face toward the Qibla. In any other times, no. If you do not face toward the Qibla, then your Salat is invalid. Now Sheikh talks about another important topics, Arkanus Salat, the pillars of the Salat. The pillars of Salat. Now we know Wujub Salat, i.e. under which occasions the Salats are duty on you, and we know under what occasions your Salats are valid. And now we need to know what are the Arkan Salat, i.e. now we enter the Salat. We face toward the Qibla and we said Allahu Akbar. Is that it? We do not need to know anymore? No. There are other things that we must be aware of, so our Salat is important. We had things that we must know before we enter the Salat. And now when we enter the Salat, now there are things that we must be aware of them. We must be aware of those stuff, then our Salat is going to be accepted. It says, أركان الصلاة 18 ركنا. The pillars of the Salat are 18 pillars. The first is the Niyyah. When you look toward the Qibla, you have the intention. You say Allah. Before you say Allahu Akbar, you have the intention that you pray. You have the intention. وَالْقِيَامْ مَعَ الْقُدْرَةِ. The second is standing up. This is very important, my dear brothers. Some people, they do not stand up when they pray. They sit down on the chair. And he is able to stand up. As long as you are able to stand up and say Allahu Akbar, you are not allowed to sit down to say Allahu Akbar while you're standing. You must stand up and say Allahu Akbar. You should be standing while you starting the Salat. If you are not standing up and you are able to stand up, then your salat is invalid. If you're ill, okay, we look at it. Can you say Allahu Akbar while you're standing and then sit? If he says yes, and then you must do it. I'm shocked. Some brothers, they're on the tills, on the shops. They run around the shops all day long. And they're around the shops here and down and up and down, and here to there, here and to there, while they're standing. When they comes to the salat, they want to sit down. This is a joke. This is disrespecting Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. All day long, you're running around, and now you want to sit down when you say Allahu Akbar? No. Your salat is invalid. If you can't say Allahu Akbar while you're standing, then you have to do it. If not, your salat is invalid. Do not sit down until you say Allahu Akbar and you sit down. So this is an important thing that we must be aware. I see the brothers, they sit down and they say Allahu Akbar while they're able to say it and while they're standing. So if you say it standing, sitting down, if you say it sitting down, then your salat is invalid. You must say it while you're standing. وَالتَّكْبِيرَةُ الْإِحْرَامِ, and saying Allahu Akbar. This is another pillar. The niyyah, the standing up, and then Allahu Akbar. The third one is saying Allahu Akbar. Like this, Allahu Akbar. No any other words. Which we will come to in the future. If we say Allahu Akbar al-Azim, Allahu al-Azim al-Akbar, and other things, we will come to in the future, all of those in deep topics, inshallah ta'ala. وقراءة الفاتحة بعد بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم وهي آية منها. And also the other pillar that we must be aware of, that is reading Fatiha. In all occasions, in the madhab al-Shafi'iyya and the majority of the ulamas, they say that you must read the Fatiha. And Shaykh says, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim wa hiya ayatu minha. And saying Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, it is an ayah in the Fatiha. This is the madhab al-Shafi'iyya. That the ayah is, this is the madhab Imam Shafi'i as well. That the Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim is ayah in the Fatiha. Now, we know that we must read it. When we read it, in the salat that we pray by ourselves alone, in all the rak'ats, in all the times. Also, when we are with the imam, while he reading loud, when he stops a little bit, you read in that time. And the second and the third and the fourth rak'ah, while he's not reading loud, you still read Fatiha. For example, you have Dhuhr, in the 4 rak'ats of Dhuhr, or the 2 rak'ats of the Fajr, you must read Fatiha in all the occasions. You do not read another surah while the Shaykh reading the surah, but you still read the Fatiha inside yourself. So when the Shaykh says, Walad Dalin Ameen, finish the Fatiha and you say Ameen, after that you should read the surah in yourself. While the Shaykh reading the Quran, or when he stops and gives you a gap, then you read the Fatiha. I.e., in all occasion, in all the times, you must and you should read the Fatiha, and you should not leave the Fatiha out. And also saying Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim is one of them. وَالرُّكُوعُ وَالطُّمَأْنِينَةُ فِيهِ. Ruku' is bowing down, and bowing down to the ruku', and tranquility, i.e., having little bit rest in the ruku'. This is another pillar, i.e. the ruku' and having little bit rest in the ruku'. You must do those. وَالْإِعْتِدَالُ وَالْإِطْمَئْنَانِينَةُ فِيهِ, i.e. going up from ruku' and little bit rest, tranquility, i.e. little bit rest. This is the as well rukun and pillar. وَالسُّجُود, prostration and going down to the ground. And also the same thing, and another thing that we must know is having rest a little bit, and not just go down and come up, go down and come up. No. When you go to sujood, you say Subhana Rabbiyal A'la, and you stop a little bit, and then you go up. Those are the important things. وَالْجُلُوسُ بَيْنَ السُّجْدَتَيْنِ وَاطْمِئْنَانُ فِيهِ. I.e., when you go to the prostration, the sujood, when you do the first one and you come up, before you go down to the second one, you must wait a little bit. وَالْجُلُوسُ الْأَخِيرِ. The last, when you do the fourth prayer, the four rak'ah, the last rak'ah, when you read in the tahiyyat, you must sit. This is a rukun. وَالتَّشَهُّدُ فِيهِ, i.e. the last tashahhud, which we will come to it later on. When before you say Salamu alaykum wa rahmatullah, Salamu alaykum wa rahmatullah, in the salam, as-salam, in the right to the left, you must read the tashahhud, which we will come to it. At-tahiyyatu lillahi, as-salawatu wa-tayyibatu, we will come to it. You must read those before you do the salat. Was-salatu ala nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. And this is another pillar, that to say as-salawat on the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. You must do salawat on the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam before you do the salam. In the fourth rak'at, before you do salam, or the second rak'at before you do the salam, or the third one in the maghrib before you do the salam, you must do all of that. The tashahhud and also the salat ala nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. And the last one, or before the last, at-taslimatul ula, i.e. the first salam. In the Shafi'i madhab, when you say assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah, the first one is the pillar, is the rukun that you must do. The second one is okay if you do not do it. But this doesn't mean you don't do it. You should do it. It's best to do it. And why the first one is rukun and the second one is not? There are many Islamic rules and regulations under this, which we will come to again in the future. Inshallah ta'ala, we will speak about all of those matters. وَالنِّيَّةُ الْخُرُوجِ مِنَ الصَّلَاةِ, and also the intention that you are going out in the salat, i.e. you finishing your salat. And i.e. before, when you're doing salam, you're doing the salam of intention that you are going out in the salat. Those are the pillars that we must be aware of them, and we must be aware of them, and they are very, very important for us to be aware of them. The intention, the standing up, and saying Allahu Akbar while standing up, and reading Fatiha, and going to the ruku', bowing down, and having a rest in the while you bowing down, and you go up. When you're coming up from the bowing down, you're having a rest, and also sujood. When you're going down on the ground, you're putting your face on the ground and rest. And also in the between the two sujood, you must have little bit rest and sit down. And also the last sitting, and also the tahiyyat and salat on the Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam. And also the last thing is also the salam, saying salam, and also the niyyah. And those are the pillars that we must be aware of them. If we do not do one of them, then our salat is not accepted. This is the end of the today's lecture. Inshallah, we will come back with another lecture. هذا والله أعلم وصلى الله على سيدنا محمد. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.